All right, let's get started. While on the break, I thought of one more thing we can do. Uh, Instead of, we tried to figure out what sort of rate of return we need to use. Suppose I have no choice on that. My managers of my 401k invested into index funds, so I can earn only 8%. Now I have to modify my salary. Now I know I can save 500 a month. I can earn 8% for the next 30 years. I'm starting with 15. I'm not going to leave anything to the grandkids. So let's do this. 8%. Come on, mouse. And you want to draw $X a month and leave nada, nicho, zero to grandkids. And you could earn again 2% while being retired. What is $X? Your monthly retirement salary, pension payment. Now I know what's going to happen now, but I don't know what should happen in the future. So first things first, I'm going to figure out if I'm saving 500 a month for the next 30 years while earning 8%, and I'm starting with 15, how much am I going to have when I retire at 50? So let's go back to our problem. We're going to be in calculation mode because I'm going to read off something from the left-hand side. And I do need to calculate futures. It could have been yellow, but I like it red. I'm earning 8. Oops, I'm in the wrong place. For 30 years. Okay. So if I'm earning 8% rate of return, 30 years from now, I'm going to have 909,000 and some change. Okay. How much of a salary could that buy me? That's what we need to know. So right click, copy, target value, paste values. I'm going to be in present mode this time. And let me see. Interest rate is going to be 2. Number of years is going to be 35. I don't know what periodic payment is, and I'm leaving nothing to grandkids, right? What I don't know is the periodic payment. So I'm going to go to Sol 4, change it, and go to solar mode. Done. I can only afford, given those circumstances, a salary of 3,000 and some change. So it's essentially the same problem. We just looked at it from different viewpoints. It required exactly the same amount of calculations. That's why I spent a lot of time this summer on this one. Even deciding the colors, I had to try a lot of different things, so it didn't look too Vegasy or too flashy. It doesn't bother the eyes, I hope. But when you change the unknown, it makes that into a rose color so that you know that's what you're solving for. Double click. Oh, how to get what I'm gonna have? Oh, you double click on this red light or green light. Oh, okay. Yeah. I wrote that formula. Yeah, it wasn't there in the original one we did last time. This is an if function. The first argument is a logical statement. If it is true, it does the second argument. If it's false, it does the third argument. Again, it's just a tag, but if somebody who didn't know anything about these things, well, they say, okay, we're in a different mode now. Green light is solver mode, red light is calculation mode. All right? Okay, let me save this. Come on, save. Now we're going to talk about uh, some intro to chapter 2. I think the title is Understanding Financial Statements. Well, you guys all have taken basic accounting class somewhere. So what are financial statements? Why do we have them? I mean, you can tell me what kind of financial statements are there, but why do we even have financial statements? What's the purpose? Hmm? Keep track of money for whom? Okay. But why are we doing it? You're describing what financial statements do. You're not telling me why you're doing it. Yes. That's one use. Yeah, to understand the cash flow, to understand profitability, to understand what the company owes, what the company owns, and but in all of them, the common theme is we tell stories. Okay? Financial statements are accountants' way of telling stories about the firm, and just like any story, different parts of the story are uh, directed towards different audiences. Okay? I can tell stories that are directed more to short-term lenders to the firm. I can tell stories where uh, interest is more about the shareholders. I can tell stories, interest is about IRS or, long-term lenders, what have you. So every part of financial statements and even the organization of different financial statements is done with a story in mind or with a collection of stories in mind. So we have three basic financial statements. One is called balance sheet. Who's going to tell me what balance sheet does, if you remember? I know it's been a while, but yeah, all the assets and liabilities. Assets are things you own. Liabilities are things you owe. And it also looks at the difference between the two. That's kind of your personal equivalent of net worth. Uh, so it is a record of assets and liabilities as of a particular date. It's like a picture. Okay. On December 31st, 2022, you take a picture of company. That's a balance sheet. And we're going to have some abbreviations. TA is for total assets. TL is for total liabilities. And TE for total equity, where TE by very definition is equal to total assets minus total liability, or total assets must equal total liability plus total equity. This is called the basic balance sheet identity. If that equation does not hold, you made a mistake somewhere. Okay? That's why we call it a balance sheet. On the left-hand side, in the old days, we actually had ledgers. On the left-hand side of the page, you listed the assets, and it was a kind of a T table. On the right-hand side, you had the liabilities, then, you know, stockholders' equity. That's also known as stockholders' equity, owner's equity. A lot of different names, but it's all the same thing. Uh, Now, let's think about assets. We're gonna, assets are divided into two main groups. We're gonna call them current assets, short CA, and net fixed assets, or fixed assets in general, NFA or FA. Okay? So total assets by definition is equal to current assets plus net fixed assets. What we call current assets are assets that could be converted into cash within a year without much loss in value. You can convert anything to cash if you're willing to take a big haircut. You know, if you're selling 5 avocados, converting that into cash is relatively easy. But if you have a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, if you want the money tomorrow, you're gonna have to get a haircut. That's the financial euphemism for taking a loss on it. Okay? And these are sometimes also called liquid assets, even though liquidity is a matter of degree. We're going to actually have a definition of liquidity. Liquidity equals speed with which one can convert an asset into cash without much loss in value. So what is the mother of all liquid assets, do you think? Cash. By definition, it's already cash. So cash and cash-like, I should say, assets are most liquid. Of course, in finance or accounting, when we say cash, we are not necessarily talking about paper money. That actually has a specific name. It's called vault cash. The monies that you have in demand deposit accounts in banks is cash. Savings accounts that can be converted to demand deposit anytime you want, that's cash. But we also have cash-like assets. For example, short-term treasury securities. If you have 3-month T-bills, converting them into cash is basically as fast as you can log on to Robinhood or whatever investment account you have and put a sell order. And it's going to be executed immediately. And there's not going to be too much loss in value.